But if we are ready to go, then I think it's about time that we roll into this episode of GoldTail D&D.
Woo!
Well, no
yeah.
reference at all. There's no intro. Oh wait.
Yeah, we don't have any fancy animated intro. We're just gonna dive right into it. But here we go. So, last time, leading up to the events where we see our characters on the map, a mysterious creature known as an Imitar named Hutch drew a bleeding and on death's door Kimoto, a hellhound woman, into the Axe and Boot Tavern asking for help. After helping to stabilize her wounds and with some extra stealth and subterfuge, they managed to sneak Kimoto and Hutch into the estate of Urist's father, Emmett Eshton. Taking up a room in secrecy, they learned from Kimoto that the ancient wizard Tubei Zaldosek was performing horrendous experiments inside and under his tower. And that there were innocent people involved. Innocent people that had been kidnapped and taken custody abducted by Zaldosek and experimented on. And these people needed to be saved. That was Kimoto's #1 priority.
Oh, wow.
Asking the group with this so that Kimoto could rest and recover from her grievous wounds, the party decided to go into the dungeon, into the realm beneath Arkala, the city, under the foundation of the city, to figure out what the heck is going on. What they found was a sprawling network of tunnels and a dungeon of rusted cells and refuse and experimentees gone feral. No two alike. Some of them had drooling maws with extended tongues. Others had webbed feet and fingers. Still others had, acid spit and latex-like skin and all sorts of other mutations besides. Some of them relatively human, some of them horrific. One of them, innocent and cute. A moth-like creature that has attached itself to Clume and is currently camouflaged as a large mushroom upon Clume's back. Fighting their way deeper into the dungeons, they discovered the greatest monstrosity of them all. A
Warren.
Not quite. But a homunculus, a golem of stitched together undead flesh with wings and claws and a skull-like head with abilities beyond that of any living creature. This creature chained up began to break free of its bindings, and in doing so, the group realized they had to shut this thing down as quickly as they could. They heard the voice of Tubei Zaldosek, and finally managed to defeat the creature, but not without some difficulty. Warren was swallowed whole. Jen Quinal, or Quinn, was knocked unconscious, and some of the other party had to dodge incredible attacks of ferocity. Inside of this creature's gullet, in a realm beyond space, Warren woke up face to face with a being claiming to be Rak Null, a voice that has become more and more persistent in the party's adventures. This being a tall, thin creature with the head of a skull of a small bird, told Warren to inscribe its name upon the back of Zaldosek's phylactery. After some back and forth, Warren managed to write it correctly.
Took a bit, but we got there.
Ragnall was drawn into the phylactery, which was embedded in that creature's chest. Vomiting Warren back into the world of the living, the creature then began to mutate, bones cracking and flesh restitching into the form that Ragnall had chosen in that realm beyond space.
Ooh.
Now Ragnall stands before you, tall, imposing, slender, with a gown that reaches to the ground and stretches out like so many roots of a tree, and pitch black, other than for its stark white skull. It spreads out bird claw-like arms in welcome to all of you. That's where we find our adventurers now, facing a creature that they do not know if it is friendly or evil. We're going to start with Urist, who is in the back of the party. Quinn, you are unconscious. You're going to have to make a constitution check when we get to you
Alright.
to wake up.
Sounds
But we're going to start with Urist. So, Urist, you see Warren get barfed out. You see the creature morph into this figure. What do you do?
Right. First, I'm going to check my spell slots.
First, I'm gonna see how many spells I have left.
Oh, we know
Otis
Warren
just
has
pulls out a
none.
piece of
Enough.
paper.
Let's see. Enough? Enough. All right. First things first. Let's go ahead and drop Warren a few more hit points because
Thank you.
It looks to me like they could use a few more.
Always. I could always use more. With as much
Sounds about
danger as I put myself into.
Also, don't forget to call out what spell you're using and what you roll.
Right. Sorry. Healing word, and I'm giving him 5 HP.
Perfect.
Nice.
Excellent. I was like, oh, thank you.
Erst moves up beside him. Back at it. It's time that we figure out exactly what's going on here. Erst waits with a hand on the pommel of her rapier and stares down this thing. So, let us talk.
Okay.
Warren's like, and remember, you're not supposed to say the name of the deity, and you keep that in mind. We don't want to get in any more trouble than I've already gotten into.
Oh, God.
Warren, it's worth noting as a rule that the gods haven't been in the habit of incarnating.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, obviously, it's right there.
Yes, that is exactly what I mean, in fact.
Well, surely they do this sort of thing all the time. How else do you get god stories?
Not this way.
Quinn, go ahead and roll a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. If I fail this roll, I'll be very sad.
Yeah,
What do you do?
So, smacked around by Clume, you come to. You have a great aching throb at the back of your head where you struck stone. But your vision swims and slowly comes into focus. You catch your breath. You smell all of the kind of nastiness of the dungeon down here, and that helps you rise to consciousness, especially as adrenaline starts to pump through your body. Because last thing you remember, you were in combat.
So Quinn, feeling Clume slapping his face, he's like moans as he comes back to consciousness, and his eyes like shoot open as he blinks and looks around. Remembering, okay, wait, there was a dragon. I got knocked aside. The party's in trouble. Oh my god. And he sees like everyone's okay. You know, he takes a breath. And, you know, just beyond Warren, then he can see this dark, tall, imposing figure. And he's a little uncertain if this is friend or foe. Because, I mean, he's not attacking immediately, so Quinn is like, alright. Thinking to himself, alright. We're okay? Question mark?
Question mark?
Maybe. So he kind of slowly works his way up onto his feet. He's very unsteady, puts a hand to his head like, God.
Clume's kind of like helping him like maintain his balance.
Oh, actually, that reminds me, Riley. The lower section of the wall for the entrance to this room is still blown out, right?
Yeah, the for everyone's imagination, pretty much this whole section of the wall from the middle all the way to the next wall is crushed. Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Accurate representation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
My acolytes.
Warren waves. Very excitedly.
Don't be getting ahead of yourself there, Lars.
I am Ragnall.
Warren just kind of like, he doesn't really know what to do, so he's like, he goes to like move a little closer, and then he's like, wait, no, you're not supposed to do that. So he backs up, he goes in for a kneel, and he's like, wait, he didn't say kneel. So he stands back, he's like fidgeting around, looking around like, wait, how do I
What's the protocol?
He
like,
slowly steps down from this kind of raised platform that this zombie dragon was on before. And he reaches out, and a bird-like claw extends and draws along kind of Warren's face, drawing from, the back of the jaw up to his chin.
oh.
He says,
Oh.
relax.
It's like, oh, okay. Just it's it's not every day that the whole paladin meets his god for instructions happens. It's very exciting. I've always dreamed of this, but never, nothing that can really prepare you for the actual moment. By the way, where's the rock one? It's a big moment. I want to make sure everyone's was here. Doesn't want him unless he's busy. He's kind of rambling on.
Warren, I do believe the two might be in competition, which is why we need to have a certain conversation, she says, turning back to it.
You are quite perceptive, Urist Eshtan.
Doesn't take too much to figure out which direction the stone's gonna roll.
Indeed. The earth is slow. It moves so ponderously. But I am but a newborn, and we must act quickly, because the exiled one approaches.
But there'll be a lot we need to discuss beforehand. So, why don't we do this quicken, if and you don't mind dropping the formalities?
Yes. How may I answer your curiosities?
Let's start with the obvious one. Are you an evil force of chaos or doom or death that's going to be coming on in and wrecking up the city above?
You hear Clume facepalm in the distance.
On the contrary, I look to protect this valuable city.
I told you!
There's much here that will serve me.
Yeah, almost had it.
I am a god of undeath. My subjects are those caught between life and death.
You mean like
slowly turns to face Warren?
it's like that's like the things that the keepers take care of.
Erst blinks slowly.
Yeah. Keeper.
I'll see.
Would refer to them more as slavers.
Oh.
Was never really a fan of them.
Interesting. You sound kind of like the god of the keepers, but you don't seem to very happy with them.
No. The keepers control that which is mine. Upon the moons, the new and the full, my subjects, my rightful subjects, rise. But they are snared by the keeper's curse.
A curse? But they're the ones that keep them, doing all the work that helps protect the city.
They are the ones that keep my subjects shackled.
Do you mean to suggest that they'd be more intelligent without the keepers looking over them?
Oh, yes. Shall I Demonstrate.
Uh-oh.
Not here, I don't think. You need to be
Demonstrate
doing.
with Warren.
But
Oh.
if you've got an extra skeleton hanging about, which isn't being used,
Just in the next room. And he points a clawed finger to the left.
Urs
His
is-
left, your right.
Urs has been so used to the undead just being commonplace as labor and other such things that Urs had forgotten it was there.
That one?
No, to it would be your character's right. So that one, yes.
Oh.
There are two
Gotcha.
dead bodies, the dead of the mutants that apparently
dead of the
expired
dead.
sometime
The dead of the dead.
before. Yes.
All right, demonstrate your point. But
Racknall, there's a flickering, and Racknall disappears
Rip died of Rip.
and reappears over by the door. Racknall reaches out and gestures to the two mutants that are in the stockades. And without opening the door, without unlocking the stockades, these roots crawl up their bodies and then melt against them as if a kind of rubber that is sealing airtight to their skin, and then seems to fade away, leaving the corpses as they were. But with a sudden jerk and gasp, the two mutants begin to move. They at first struggle against their bindings, and then upon looking up and seeing Racknall kind of ducking his head to peek into the door, they calm and remain still. And Racknall gestures to Warren and Urist and says, "Come, ask your questions."
Urs picks her way over a bit of rubble and finding a spot that she can stand without anything being in the way, calls out, "What are your names?"
There's a moment of hesitation as the creatures being recently resurrected try to figure out how their mouths work. Like many of the other mutants, not only are they beyond what they ever were as humans or as elves or whatever they were before, but now they're also undead, and so rigor mortis has set in, and they fight against it, and eventually the one on the right begins to speak in a gargled, messy tone, and you get as she speaks, my name is Alice.
The Warren's kind of sitting he's doing his little funk pose. As he puts some stuff together here.
My name is Alice. My name is Alice. And she begins weeping, tears falling down her face.
So Warren, he's rubbing his chin. He's like, "So what you're saying is that the keepers are actually bad guys that have been enslaving the undead?"
Boom, bonked him Warren in the back of the head with her staff.
He's
Don't!
like, "Huh?"
She's like, don't start drawing conclusions.
Well, that is what they seem to be saying at the least. The implication here is pretty strong, but there are things that do not quite add up, at least not yet. Most of the undead just stand around and not doing anything once they raise on the moons.
Indeed. The undead rise, and in their moment of shock, the keepers come and take them, shackle them, enslave them.
Now, as Warren crosses her arms, I was under the impression that certain types of undead, the vampires and whatnot, would come to be separately, that it's only every so often one with intelligence arises, that most of the time they're simply corpses. So, back to the questioning. let's go ahead and with the basic understanding that I certainly believe that if not a god of the undead, you certainly have a lot of power over them, and there may be more going on with the keepers than we first expected. All good. What's with the tree?
The tree, my birthplace, or the place of my rebirth.
You spoke about wanting to stop one of the exiles from doing something, and yet isn't it the exile's magic from which you were reborn?
No. The exile's kin played with magic they did not understand. The exile is a slayer of gods. Jealous. Violent.
Orin's like, which one's the exile again?
That would be the king of the nomads.
Nomads.
Oh, yes.
An exiled king of exiles. The final toll of the gods to protect their subjects from the god slayer.
Do you know where they obtained the knowledge of this magic?
Oh. They have not passed yet into my realm. But this magic, I see it upon you as well. You used the ancient language of the gods.
The gods.
It's like,
I always thought it was the giants.
Yes? Perceptive. Who do you think taught the giants?
Oh.
Quinn scratches at his chin. Like, guess that's a good point.
but, you know, that's good. That makes sense. So Warren will obviously, so he chimes in. He's like, "Quick question. Yeah, I know this is very important that we're trying to figure out how the undead work and the undead god and everything else like that. But in regards to the other, we'll call him the other boss of my powers. Exactly what kind of conflict are we talking about? Are we just talking about like, I do one job for you and one job for him, or am I going to explode? What kind of what are we talking about here?"
Oh, Warren, my sweet paladin.
Did you hear that, guys? He called me a paladin.
There is no conflict between me and the Earthen One. We obey different realms. We control different magics. We are part of different circles of existence. The Earthen One does not care that he shares you.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So if he comes and like asks me to do something, are we cool with that? Is because it is as a paladin, I having more than one deity blessing me. That's got to count for like twice as much paladin, right?
You see Ragnall kind of begin to convulse a little bit. You hear the rattling of bones. And it takes you a while to realize that Ragnall is laughing. Ragnall turns and tilts its head at Warren and says, "If the Earthen One cares about anything, I would be surprised.
Oh,
If it asks you to do anything, I would be surprised. If you feel the need to embark on some quest for the Earthen One, I doubt it will impact my plans."
Oh, excellent, splendid, wonderful. Real quick though, I know we're not really supposed to say the names of the gods and whatever, but do you happen to have a name for the Earthen One?
No, should I speak it, the Earthen One in its slothly, cowardly state would surely punish me.
Okay, so we're just gonna stick with Earthen One, and he's like, you can see him like imagine writing it in like he's like takes a claw and he like tries to start scratching it into like the and his like his wrist arm guard.
All right. Erst raises a hand again. All right. Setting aside your excellent choice setting aside your excellent taste in paladins, and the no doubt beautifully representative nature of the choice, I think we have to discuss for at least a moment exactly what the difference is between your claimed divinity and the other claimed divinities. In short, you're here, and incarnated. Young you call yourself, reborn you call yourself, but walk the world you are. Why you? Why not them?
Leave it to the bard to speak in poetry.
Arkala is special. A sanctuary away from the exiled one. Its walls just as alive as you are.
Aye, and?
If we can expand those walls, we can protect my nascent form, and the era of the gods can be born anew.
Ah, I do see. Now, I'm afraid I do have to ask. You seem to be implying that the giant creatures who reckon over are a consequence of the Godslayer's actions? That the gods are somehow barred from assisting more thoroughly?
You misunderstand. The gods have been killed. But Warren
Warren's like, what?
and Clue,
Uh-oh.
you brought me back.
See, it wasn't just me.
Clum bonks him in the back of his head again with her staff.
It just kind of, it's just like, he doesn't really react. He just gets like a hollow sound where, you know, rattles through his brain.
There's a brain back there?
Oh.
No, that's why it's a hollow sound.
Oh. Ragnall blinks again into the inside of the cell, where he opens his robe up, and you can't see from this angle, obviously. You see the back of his robe, just a sheer sheet of black. And you hear shackles unlock and the stockades open, and he welcomes the two mutants under his robe. And by the time he turns around again, and his robe is closed, they are gone. And he turns back around and blinks to here, and faces you once more.
Erst jabs a finger in his direction. Understand me. If in this partnership doesn't work out particular well, if you become a threat to me or mine or the city at large, if we find ourselves on opposite sides, know this: I have learned gods can die.
Warren is he doesn't say anything, but you could tell he panics the second he hears that.
There is a moment where Ragnall lowers itself, and it looks like he's doing a great elaborate bow, and he gets very, very low to the ground,
And kisses it.
even to the point where his head is lower than Klum's head. And the rest of his body, the rest of his robe and form are just pooled outwards in this sloping shape. And it blinks and appears again directly in front of Urist, its bird-like skull in Urist's face.
Urist is
Glowing
doing her
red
level-
eyes locking onto Urist's.
Urist
And-
is doing her level best not to flinch, but her hand tightens. Well, both hands tighten. The one upon the book and the other on the arm.
Warren's like looking just
And
rapidly
it's-
between the two.
It hisses in a low voice, loud enough that you all can hear it. But there's a mix of malice and mirth in its tone, as it says, "When the exiled one appears before the gates of Arkala, you will learn faith in the gods again, and you will be thankful that we will work together to stop it.
Oh, see, there you go.
Erst has a careful little swallow staring into those eyes, then sort of rights herself and tugs her tunic down, and she says, "Right, let's get you to those gates then. We've got work to do."
You've got work to do.
Yes. And at that, Ragnall shrinks. All of its large, imposing form becoming tiny. Like a
Oh
little,
my god.
a little sparrow of black and white that then flutters up and perches on top of Warren's helmet. It looks like a completely normal sparrow that is just rather bright, colored rather interestingly in black and white, but its head is that of a skull. And it perches on top of Warren and says in a little chirping voice, "We have much to do. Let us begin."
Oh, the raven, nevermore.
Warren is back to Warren's almost like vibrating. He's like, he doesn't know if because he's like part like panic mode and part like, oh my god, I have a god backing me now. I'm a real boy. I'm a real paladin.
So the three of you pass on to the next room, leaving Clume and Quinn alone for the moment.
Shall we
Right.
focus on those two for the time being?
Yes.
Very good.
Okay. So Clume, once she sees that they all left, she turns around and kind of like walks towards the pedestal where the dragon was originally, and nudges a little moth girl off her back with her
Okay.
staff, and kind of like puts her down. You know how like this little section has like this little step right here?
Yes.
She kind of like puts her on the step, and she kind of just like does a small little look over of her body to see if she was injured or anything like that during the fight.
Okay. She settles down and her wings kind of fluff a little bit and unfurl because they had mimicked your head mushroom and now return to being these fluffy gossamer wings that kind of lay against her body, fold against her back. She looks up at you with those really big, almost alien-like eyes. Her little mouth just kind of quivering a little bit as her hands fidgeting as she looks up to you. But otherwise, she seems unscathed.
Okay. Gloom kind of just like she sits next to her and attempts to like give her a little head pat.
She takes the head pat, her long, fluffy antenna kind of twitching this way and that way.
And Gloom kind of says, like, she obviously says it like kind of broken because she knows that she can barely speak or speak at all. So she's just like, "You okay?"
The moth girl kind of nods slowly at first, but then it picks up and she's like, okay.
It's adorable.
And Quinn kind of like turns her head and then looks at Quinn, and she's like, "We're gonna need some ice for that, aren't we?" And points towards her head, or towards his head.
Quinn was kind of just standing back a little bit because he doesn't want to frighten the moth girl with too many people up next to her. But he has like his hand or his arms folded over his chest, kind of just looking curiously around the room. And when Clume speaks up, he twitches an ear and shakes his head slowly. Just, "No, I'm fine. I just..." kind of glances over towards the exit. "Something isn't sitting right with me about this.
You don't say. Clume kind of
Glad I'm
like
not the only one."
Clume kind of like stands up and dusts herself off. She kind of like she takes a knee and kind of puts her hands behind her, like like what you do when you're giving someone a piggyback ride, and she says, up towards Moth Girl.
And she nods and begins crawling up along your back again.
And Gloom kind of says, he's probably talking a lot of crap, right?
Who?
Sparrowhead.
About
Everything.
what?
I don't
No.
trust a word he says.
And if what he says is true about the undead and how the keepers are enslaving them more than guiding them, I suppose, it feels as if we're just merely passing them from one slaver to another.
And remember, this isn't even our home. Like, we're trying to find a way out of here. At the end of the day, I know it's kind of a mean thing to say, but it's not our problem. We've been spending how long trying to find information to get back?
Mm-hmm. Quinn just kind of like gives a long sigh, his shoulders slump a little. It feels as if that has kind of been shoved aside ever since we joined up with this group of people.
I've been trying. I've been trying to get back with the research. It's a little tricky, but hopefully we'll have a little chance to do some more. But I don't know. It's kind of just one of those things where, what's the word? Alright, a fairy tale. I once read about how humans used to have these kind of, what's the word they used? Candidates for leaders. I would say that. And they always promise so much. And at the end of the day, they hurt everyone. So I don't trust him. And until he could prove his worth, he's just another person that we're gonna have to be ready to kill at a moment's notice.
Yeah, I suppose so.
How do you feel recently about Warren? I know you've never really took a fancy to him, but given what's going on, do you think he's going down a path that he can't come back from?
Quinn hums to himself, thinking that over. I suppose, perhaps, it's still hard to discern this deity's true intention. But in a way, I guess it's somewhat good that it's Warren. I don't think Warren really has the capability to do much on his own.
Yeah, but
This would be terrible if the guy was competent.
This would be terrible if the guy was.
We'd all be doomed.
We'd all be screwed.
Quinn shakes his head again and turns towards the stairs. We probably best get caught up with everyone else, though.
You get to about this point, and who remembers?
We're keeping our eyes open for the dark mantles. We absolutely
Yes, so go ahead and make a perception check, if you would, please.
They've moved.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Okay, perception you said?
Yes.
Oh boy. I love things that involve my wisdom.
Hey yo!
Yeah, really.
I got a 25!
I got
Very
an
good.
11.
I probably just saved everyone.
Yeah, actually, you did, Barry. You saved everyone from a surprise round. Barry, just in the nick of time, Kloom goes, something along the lines of "Look out!" And as the Dark Mantles swoop down and attempt to grab you all up, and you all get your weapons at the ready just in time for them to do so. However, the other thing that comes swooping down are
no.
of
The
bats. And a
no.
giant bat who is looking particularly hungry with particularly long fangs. So, I hope you guys want to do combat, because we're about to do another one. Go ahead and roll some new initiative.
Ugh. All right.
I have, like nothing
Swooping is bad.
left.
6. God.
It's fine.
Yeah, I've got
It's
one spell
fine.
slot left, and then my
Sweet.
cantrips.
Well,
Really?
I got nothing.
Oh!
I blew my everything on that boss.
I got a nat
Way
20.
to go, Quinn.
nice.
All right, Quinn, carry this. Oh my god.
I'll do my best.
Swarms get the fire.
Okay, so it looks like the Dark
Tense and
Mantles get a
flint.
20.
Jeez.
The bat swarms are going to get a natural.
Ooh.
The parallels.
Yep. So
Yeah,
let me
really.
just put those all the way down there. And the last big bat is going to get.
God.
That's fine.
How am I going before anything? Like,
Yeah. That's impressive. Let me just get everything
So
organized.
wait,
it
so
looks
the dark mantles are the little things with the little harpoon tentacle things.
Squid.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're basically cave squid. They imitate stalactites a lot of the time, and they're one of the more vicious low-level monsters. It's good stuff.
Yes.
That's good stuff.
It is good
it's
stuff.
good stuff.
Let me just pop
Unironically,
open.
one of my favorite monsters from all of D&D, just because they're so thematic, a little silly, and they're the death of first level characters across the nation.
I always get them mixed up with cloakers.
Yes.
Yes, cloakers are also really, really good. I love that D&D is full of different things that are just beyond good at mimicking and hiding and all sorts of stuff like that. Okay, so who's ready to become a vampire? Quinn!
Oh boy! Stack those
You
templates.
get to go first.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. Do I get anything for a nat 20, or am I just the lucky person here going first?
Tell you what, I will give you, because of this, I'm going to give you an extra D6 on your first hit.
Oh.
D6 damage. Yeah.
She laughing so much and cut her off.
Yeah.
Okay. So question. Is it so I know Quinn had used just his regular battle axe for the spiders. Is it reasonable to say he might have taken his great axe out just to be safe?
Yeah, so
Or-
Kloom said, "Look out!" As they spotted the Dark Mantles coming down. So whichever weapon that Quinn would have drawn, go for it.
Okay, excellent. So he's got his big great axe out, the one that he's got on this rather thin-looking staff, and the runes at the top have glowed to life in this giant axe shape. So seeing everything descend upon them, it's a little terrifying, but we'll manage.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So let's see. So we got that. So we got this thing. All right. So I think first, with his bonus action, Quinn is going to invoke Giant's Might again.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, having this much room, he will grow to 10 feet tall, like double his size.
Oh boy.
It's like the giant rune on his face, like glows to life in a bright white. Let's see. I don't know. Can you make his avatar bigger? Because I
Yes.
think that's what you did last
Boink.
time, Riley. It won't let me. Ah, excellent. And there we go.
There we go.
There
God.
we
There he
go.
goes.
I did not mean to start this.
So he's gonna position himself over here, and with his great axe in hand. Oh,
I mean, when moving, they provoke the 2 opportunity attacks.
Oh wait, will it?
Yes, it would
Oh,
from the swarm and the
good.
dark mantle here. Yes.
But that does mean you have 2 things that you can swipe at immediately.
Well,
That's fair. That's fair. All right.
oh, the dark mantle is a small monstrosity. Oops.
Whoop.
Oh.
That
Tiny.
would make a difference.
A little bit
It
different.
does a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Just a
All right.
smidge.
then Quinn is going to, with his great axe in hand, take a swing at the swarm of bats over here.
Do it.
Let's see. With a 12.
Just hits.
Ah, excellent. All right. So with Giant Smite, I get the extra D6. You gave me an extra D6.
Yep.
Oh, this is gonna be fantastic. Takes 13 points of damage altogether.
Okay,
Bam.
what is it? Slashing
Outside of
damage
the
with the axe?
Probably.
Oh.
If a normal great axe is, then yeah.
Very good. So, unfortunately, swarms have resistance. That's half as much damage.
Oh.
It takes 7 points of slashing damage.
Hmm.
As you send your axe, and I would say that like more damage is done by the wind that you cause through the swarm than actually like cutting the bats, because so many of them just
Yeah.
knock into each other, are dispersed, and then but you do catch a few, and you hear like you can feel it in the hilt of your axe, this satisfying kind of tink 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 tink, as you swat them out of the sky. Very good. But anything else that you're gonna do with your turn?
For right now, that is it.
Okay, then we come to the dark mantles, which
And
are
the one right by Clue make a Constitution saving throw.
Yes. Let's see here.
I
That's
am
right.
using the shit out.
You're using your abilities to your full advantage. It's a
Yes.
13.
My DC's a 14, so it failed.
Okay, what's happened?
So it takes a D4 of damage.
Do it.
3.
3 free damage. Very good.
Nice.
Okay.
What?
So then one of them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But anyway.
Oh. Yes. Let's do this. The one next to Clume, after taking the damage, is going to cast Darkness. Bloop.
Oh.
It just shot its ink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It shoots its ink effectively in this sort of a radius.
Oh, no.
And
Good God.
There you go.
That's awful.
Yes. So you cannot see anything in that space.
So wait, if you don't mind, just to make sure it's like more accurate, is it like, let me draw it just to, kind of make sure.
Mhm.
Is it like all of these spaces?
Yes.
Or, yes? Okay.
Yeah,
To be
it's
clear.
all of those. Anything that the ink is even kind of touching a little bit of, yeah, it's part of
Okay.
that.
Everything the ink touches.
Is it
Everything
okay if I
the
leave that
ink
there just in
touches.
case
To
then?
make it a little bit easier, we are going to push this to the back to show
Okay.
you guys kind of where that is a little bit more accurately.
And is it okay if I leave the square there just for reference?
That's fine.
sake?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So, you guys, all of a sudden, Urist, Idre, Warren, Clume, and even Quinn, as tall as Quinn is now, are suddenly surrounded by inky black darkness. You cannot see your hand in front of your face. You can try
person-
doing the
person.
John Cena movement, but you cannot see your hand.
Jesus.
Yeah. So then it gets one of those, which is an action. Therefore, it cannot. Okay. So that one does that. The other one is going to take advantage of the opportunity and try to crush Warren's skull.
Oh, my face.
Dwarf's
Can I
just like,
can-
it's hugging me.
It's
can a
hugging
dark
me.
mantle even?
Oh my god.
It would probably have blind
Oh.
sight. Yeah, if it had dark. Oh, whoops.
It does, yeah, it does have blind
Yeah.
sight. It's got echolocation and a bunch of other things.
did not mean to put
So, and funny enough, so do the bats. It's almost like I planned for this.
Wow.
So it
Hmm.
comes in and tries to grab at Warren. What it doesn't realize is that it has actually grabbed Racknull.
Oh.
No, oh my god, go.
So, Warren, what I need you to do is roll 2d10
Uh-oh.
Oh.
as Racknull blights it with necrotic damage.
Oh,
Jesus.
baby.
Also, I'm sorry. How do I erase that little square mistake I did?
You gotta click it with the select tool.
Okay.
So
wait,
that
there
dark
we go,
mantle
yeah.
takes 6 points of necrotic damage as it grabs the wrong thing.
Dark Mantle grabs the little god, and then all of a sudden, it was at that moment he knew.
You fucked up.
It's like, oh no.
So a couple of its tentacles just decay and turn into dust as it screeches and tries to flap away. Okay, that will bring it to Clume. Clume, you can't see shit.
Okay. So, would Clume, well, since it probably happened a couple of seconds ago, Clume would know where, Udis and Audrey are standing.
Yes.
Okay, so, bonus action, I'm gonna disengage,
Okay.
and, I am going to move right here, just out of the darkness.
Okay.
And, let me see. So I can't see through it. So
No,
that
you
kinda-
cannot see into
yeah.
it at all. Occasionally, like, you might get glimpses of, like, a piece of clothing that flashes out from one of your compatriots or something like that, but otherwise, nothing.
Okay. Let me see. If I even can do much right now. I actually might be able to. No, because you would need sight to see that. Okay. So let me just double check my own ability first. And then I will know what to do. 'Cause I just used my bonus action. So I still have my main action.
Mhm.
Okay.
And your regular movement as well, yeah.
Okay. Alright, well, I guess I'll reset it. Clume, she gets out of the darkness and looks into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she turns her head towards Moth Girl and asks, "Can you see through?"
Moth Girl responds by shaking her head.
In which way?
Side to side.
Okay. Alright, Clume's like, it was worth it. And she slams her staff into the ground, and I'm gonna reactivate my symbiotic entity to
Okay.
reset my temp hit points.
Oh, very good. Okay.
So I go back to
Stuff.
16.
Jeez. Okay, but otherwise you kind of set up yourself outside of the darkness.
Yes, what, the 5, and that's 15. I will move to, like, right about here.
Okay, fair enough.
And that'll be it, yeah.
Very good. Then we come to Urist. You're in the middle of inky blackness. You can't see squat.
Yep. So Urst is going to move out of it and call out, "Here, come back to here, where we can see." And is going to, as she moves back, she pulls out her second crossbow. Now that point and riposte are both drawn, we're going to go ahead and aim at where this dark mantle was last seen.
Okay.
This is almost certainly going to have disadvantage,
Yep.
but we can put a few rounds downrange. See
Give it a
if
shot.
there's anything that comes of it.
The
12.
first one does hit.
Ooh,
All right.
nice. These things are squishy little fellas.
Your object permanence is on point. It takes
And-
another 2 piercing damage because it has resistance.
So, he takes 6 cold damage, which
Nice.
I would hope these bats don't resist.
Well, I got bad. Yeah, they do. Okay.
Well,
No, they
bad
don't. They
news.
don't resist.
They resist
They don't
everything.
resist cold damage.
Okay.
So yeah, they do take the full 6 damage from that.
Okay. So then, from where I went, that's 20 feet of movement. So, there's not really any more of a vantage point I could go. So, I will stay where I am and end my turn.
All right. Then we come back to Urist. Urist, your friend is being attacked by a dark mantle.
Being a swarm, would they take extra from an AoE attack?
Sadly, no.
Okay.
In older editions, yeah, but that's kind of because they basically took nothing from individual attacks.
Oh, gotcha.
They've kind of flipped it the other way, where now they have resistance to individual attacks, but then they take normal damage from AoE kind of stuff.
Okay.
This ain't 4th or 3rd edition or Pathfinder.
Yeah, Bernard, get with the
Yeah.
times.
Ah!
All right, let's see. How's this dark? Sorry, didn't mean to draw something. How's that dark mantle looking?
Not bad, but not great.
Not bad,
Pieces
but not
of
great.
it are missing. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. In that case, I suppose we could just do the simple thing. Basically it's either we risk it on this one, or we snap off a spell on this one that's likely to do it in. Or sorry, this cluster of bats. Since that seemed to be what we were.
It sure would be a shame if those bats got another round of attacks.
It sure would be a shame.
Sure would be.
All right,
Sure would just be just the worst.
let's try for that. Urs is going to call out to this swarm of bats. Hey, you! You're all ugly looking. You look like rats.
With wings.
No, like that.
Not even. Just ran.
Well, here's their wisdom save.
Oh
For some
man.
reason, bats are
Please.
+1 to their wisdom.
Seriously?
Wise
Oh, it's an
bats.
observance thing.
Oh,
Oh!
Hey.
How do you do this?
Let's go.
Well, the bats collectively just get a little self-conscious, embarrassed, and they disperse.
they just disperse.
Well, there's to it.
They just kind of wander off, you know. Oh man, now I was gonna drink
shucks.
some blood, but now I
Oh,
feel
man.
bad.
Oh,
One of
Oh.
them's just like, I gotta hit the gym.
I gotta hit the gym.
Right?
They've been defeated by psychic damage. What you
They've
expect
been
was going to happen?
defeated. by psychic damage. Anything else you're gonna do with your turn?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and toss an inspiration die over to Quinn. The big one next time.
The
All
big
right,
one.
all right.
Okay, all right.
So, Adre, then you're up.
I
With
forget.
a resigned sigh, Adre burns his last spell slot other than his cantrips and waves his arm across in front of him, spawning a series of dart-like mushrooms that go spinning into the bat swarm.
Okay. Ooh, it's force damage. Okay.
Yeah.
7 force damage. Very good.
Yep.
As the darts seek out bats and pew pum pum.
Oh wait, sorry, that should be 9 force damage. It only added 1
Okay, yeah, no problem.
to all 3. It should be 1 per.
They are still
Alright,
going, but yeah, pew pew pew, and the mushroom-like darts explode on impact and knock several bats out of the sky. Some of them falling to the ground limp. But the rest of the swarm still seems intent on feasting what they can. Anything else you're gonna do with your turn?
Nope, just gonna hunker down.
Okay,
Yes, I
then
can.
we come to Warren.
Let's go.
Oh boy. All right, Warren's gonna go and slap this stalagmite-looking dude. How dare he? How dare he look like a rock? He's insults all rocks.
Oh,
everywhere.
rock.
I know rock. My son is a rock.
Please hit. Or okay.
Oh.
And then I swing around and slap Clue in the face.
No. Warren, make a strength check.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
holy.
Oh, I don't know if a paladin could do this.
All right.
Okay.
You swing with all your might, but you miss and misstep as well, and you put a little bit too much inertia on that swing, and your warhammer almost slips out of your hand, but you manage to grip it tight and right yourself up.
God.
Don't lose your warhammer.
Yeah, really.
But that will bring it to the vampire bats.
Can it make me a Constitution saving throw?
Yeah, fine. What's the con of the giant bat? Oh, +0.
Riley's just like, oh, fine.
Ooh, it fails.
Okay. It takes 2d4 of
Just
necrotic
explodes into a
damage.
bloody mist.
It's
Right.
So it takes 5.
All right, that heals it for 5 damage. No, I'm kidding.
Goddamn.
But at
undead.
that, it is going to swoop around and try to nom on the easier pickings of Clume.
no.
It hopes. We're gonna find out. So let's see what happens. 16.
Nope.
Ah. Fine.
He really wants to kill one of us.
I do. The other swarm of bats is going to come around and try to go for easier pickings.
An easier picking.
That is Adre.
Oh,
No.
16.
that just beats it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's
Oh,
under half
no.
HP, so it's only going to do 1d4 piercing damage. For 3.
Okay.
Okay.
As
I
bats
would hope-
nibble on your skin. Nom nom nom
Oh.
nom nom.
I would hope a wizard could take that.
Yeah, it's
Wizard
still more
immediately
than
taken
That
down
might be
to
like,
half.
I was
still
say, it
more
might
than
be like half his
10% of my
health.
health.
I'm just sort of picturing Adre fleeing back down the hallway, yelling, "They're in my beard!"
Oh,
Quinn, you are up next.
Excellent.
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 God, is this gonna become a fucking running joke with us?
Yes.
Yeah, apparently. Alright. So we've still got, I think I've still got Giant Smite going. It lasts for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got
definitely do.
Okay.
That's like 10 rounds of combat,
Yeah.
or 10
Fair.
turns, or whatever rounds, whatever.
Yeah, round is 6 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Well, kind of surprised the bat does not go for him, but he will go for the bat.
Good.
Dun, dun,
Swing of
dun.
his great axe.
Oh,
For
that
18.
hits. Yep, that hits.
All
Let's
right.
go.
So he's going to do that plus 15 points of damage.
Jesus.
You knock the bat to the ground, but it
Bam.
is still alive, barely.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's crawling like what? trying to figure out if it should flee or if it should fight. You know, the fight or flight instinct is kind of kicking in here. We're not sure what it's going to do yet. But are you going to do anything else with your turn?
I wish I'm all out of runes at the moment.
Yep. Again, these
So,
were supposed to be the monsters that deplete you, not the other way around. It's kind of funny how it's working.
Yeah.
But the Dark Mantles, okay, yeah, there are 2 of them still, are going to continue their assault on their chosen targets because they're hungry boys.
Hungry hippos.
So against Warren, it's
Oh, that actually hits.
Thank God that
Ow.
wasn't a fucking 20.
okay. So it tries to use what's called a crush. It wraps around your neck, knowing that your face or the top of your head is danger zone.
It's the no-no zone.
Oh no.
So it has attached to you, and
Sir, stop.
is now going to do some damage.
Sir.
Not concerned to this.
You take 4 points of damage as it begins to strangle you. Yes.
Yes, excellent.
Masochist now?
No.
16 to Adre.
16 hits me.
Okay. It's going to do 8 points of damage as it wraps around your head, beard and all, and begins to suffocate you, engulfing you completely. You are blinded. Warren, you are not blinded because it hasn't managed to get around the top of your head. But neither of you can breathe right now.
Uh-oh.
Luckily,
Oh.
I don't need to breathe.
Very fortunate. Very fortunate. Okay.
Yes.
Now we're going to come back to Clume.
Alright. Seeing Quinn just freaking knock most of the air out of this big bat, Clume twirls her staff and then do a ye old shillelagh and bonk technique.
Give it the bonk.
Give it the bonk. Let's pray that I can bonk this.
Horny bat, go.
Horny bat, go.
Clume racks.
Natural
Holy
20!
Yeah! Hell yeah.
The minimum damage you could do is like 2, so how do you want to do this?
Well, actually, it's 3 because I do an additional 3. I do an additional D6 with my
If you would like to
symbiotic
roll
entity.
for it, I mean,
You know what?
you can go ahead and roll the double damage. Go for it. I want to see how much this is going to do.
Yeah, I want.
Oh boy.
So that was just the D8. That would be
Yep.
14, and then from the D6, that is.
Another 5.
That's 19.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
So when the bat like swoops right by Clume, she kind of like ducks as Quinn slams into the back of it, knocking it down. And as the bat's like flying downward, Clume kind of does like a Mortal Kombat uppercut with her staff and knocks the head clean off of the bat.
Yeah, the head comes off and blood just gushes everywhere. Strangely, however, after a moment or two exposed to air, the blood of this particular bat begins to turn to dust.
Oh boy.
And the dust scatters, but at where the bat's body lands, which let's say it kind of lands over here, it just slumps and its whole body turns to a pile of ashen gray dust.
Like, we literally
goddamn
just killed a vampire.
Maybe.
Oh.
Then if that's anything else with your turn, Clume?
Man, use my action, use my bonus action. I will move right. I can stand on its corpse, right?
Oh yeah,
Well, the dust at this
the
point.
dust.
All
Yeah,
the dust.
absolutely.
Okay, I will stand right here then, and I will end it.
Very good. Then Urist, you're up.
All right. Riley, do Dark Mantles require attack rolls to continue inflicting damage once they've got a hold? Or are they another one of those that just don't do that?
While attached, the Dark Mantle can attack no other creature except the target, but has advantage on its attack rolls.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So it does still have
See.
to attack, but it gets advantage now against their
Well-
chosen victims.
Ernst has been wonderfully, what's the word? Conservative with their spell slots, so we still actually have a bunch left to go. Let's go ahead and
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Holding out on the string of bosses.
You're holding.
Yeah, right.
And
Holding
you're holding
out on your
back.
team. Everyone else is depleted.
Warren
You're
got
like, oh,
eaten.
I forgot one of these spells.
What the hell, woman?
quite to the contrary. Ernst both put out a more than satisfactory amount of damage and laid in with a bunch of extremely helpful spells. Plus, they had to focus a lot of their effort on inspiring and healing.
Yeah, those, you know, they were pretty good insults you were slinging around over there.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So what do you pull out of your bag now?
All right. Ernst will. Yeah. Okay. Ernst will
Heh.
adjust upwards, target
Okay.
this Dark Mantle because Adre looks like the more incapacitated one of the pair.
Mm-hmm.
I look
And
like
we'll-
Zoidberg, for Christ's sake.
God.
Why not a Zoidberg?
And we'll go ahead and unleash another Dissonant Whispers.
Do it.
All right. All right, you little squiddy bastard. Let go of my friend, or else I'm gonna take those tentacles and tie you into a half-dozen knots, which I'm going to use to tie you to a half-dozen horses and send you off in a dozen different directions.
It just
Wow.
crawls away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
takes-
So
It takes. Oh, sorry. You were saying?
yeah. So it takes the 9 damage, right? Psychic damage.
Yep.
And
And presuming
it-
it's still up,
It is.
it has to run directly away from Urist
Yes.
as a reaction.
So, Adre and Clume, and its speed is only 30, so go ahead and measure that out from here, wherever it is. Yeah, so pretty much Adre, Clume, and Warren, if you would like to use your reaction, you may to attack this thing. It's going to start with Adre, however, because
Like
that's the person
everyone.
that's escaping.
This,
Yeah.
I was hoping it would be able to get to like 40 with a fly speed or something, but yeah.
Okay, that misses. So it flees. The next would be Clume, if you wish to attack it.
Oops, sorry.
Oh,
That's fine. We can
Well, I
hold
mean,
on to
it-
that. If
I mean,
Clume
it
doesn't
leaves
hit.
it leaves both mine and Warren's range at the same time. So Warren wants to attack first, he can.
Tell you what, go ahead and roll your attack, and whoever ends up with the higher attack will be the one that hits it.
I don't want to waste my
True.
reaction though.
If you don't want to waste your reaction, that's fine.
I don't want
okay.
to.
So then Warren, honestly, Warren's hit does kill it. It gets to about this
Damn.
point, and then Warren, how do you want to do this?
So he's got this thing on his face. He's got it with one hand. He goes to swing. He's like trying to get ready to line up a swing on his own face. He swings his arm back and accidentally catches it in the face. Clotheslines it.
I can
Yeah,
imagine like Warren turning his hammer back the other way and then just winging it upwards, but then misjudges his own strength and just swings his arm way back, knocks the thing, and it drops out of the sky dead. Yeah.
Exactly.
While he's still choking from this other one that's around him.
It's like, what did I just hit? Oh!
Warren breathes out
The dark mantle holding onto him just sees its buddy just explode into a mist. It's like,
yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Well, that brings it back to the top. Adre, you now can see and breathe again.
Holding back spell slots. I'm not holding back spell slots. My spell slots aren't weapons. That's what you're here for.
That's true.
Of course. What you got, Adre?
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
That's your turn.
Yeah, that was that was all.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
Ah! See?
See?
It's not the spell that's the weapon. It's all of you.
It's all right.
Urist is a plot driver here. Yeah, that's true.
Those bats have been injured, yes?
Yes.
The swarm. I am going to... Audrey lifts... After shaking his beard out, he's going to lift a hand and grasp a fist in the air. A death's cap mushroom forms above the swarm, actually in the middle of the swarm.
Ooh.
And rings out in a resonant tone.
The red fate dice say I fail.
Oh.
D12 necrotic damage.
Yes. Haha, no resistance for you.
No whammies.
Come on, 12. Hey, 7, not bad.
You know what? That kills it just.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So how do you want to do this?
Oh, actually, sorry, it would have taken a 1d12 because it was already missing health.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
rolled
you
a
did roll a
d12.
12. Yeah.
Oh, did I? I did. Okay.
Yeah, you did.
So
Yeah,
how do you want to
you're
do it?
good.
As the bell rings, the bats let out a horrified shriek as it shreds their sensitive ears for their echolocation, and they just fall to the ground dead.
Nice.
Very
That's
nice.
both of the bat swarms down, and now it's just Warren over in a
All
corner over
right.
here swinging
Okay.
at his own face.
So what he does, he's running out of breath. So he puts his what is that doing there? He puts his oh my god. There we go. Shield away, and he two hands his mace. And he's lining it up. He's like,
Oh, no.
he's like, bouncing it back and forth, trying to get it ready to go. And he's gonna slam it into his face as hard as he can.
Okay.
His, of course, meaning the dark mantles.
Well, yeah, but it's also I might
Go
slap my own
make your
face.
attack, and let's see what happens.
Don't roll a 1 again.
Oh, come on,
God.
We
please
know
roll
what's
a
gonna
1.
happen if this one.
Roll a 1.
Fuck it. His mace flies over him and hits me.
Okay. So you swing your mace up,
Slam it in my
you're
own face.
You're like, okay, this thing is attached to my face, so I must hit my own face in order to detach this thing.
Exactly.
Miraculously, he, puffs out his chest in the same moment that he brings the hammer down around in the neck region, and you just hear this real wet squish as what would be the Dark Mantle's head is just completely pancaked between a rock and a hard place. And immediately it loosens, and Warren, you can start to breathe again, and it just falls to the ground.
You get that gong sound effect as Warren hits
Yeah.
himself in the hardest spot in his body.
Exactly. It's
A
gone.
rattle sound as the walnut skull bounces around.
Sometimes you just gotta give it a little jolt, You gotta.
Yeah. However, because of the intensity at which you hit, even though the creature took most of that, you will take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
I'm still up. Oh yeah.
But you're still up, yes.
So, do you need any help entering the city proper? Do the walls hold you up by any chance?
To that, the Ragnall turns its little bird head and simply says, "There will be no problem."
Little bird.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Ernst shrugs and begins walking towards the exit. Aye, close enough. Whether that means that they can't enter the town without us, or without you, Warren, either way it works. Let's go.
Okay. Trudging forward, you begin back up the staircase, reaching for the surface of Arcala. Again, you pass through. Now your body's weary and tired of combat and injury. It's tough climbing these stairs. It's no easy task. It's several flights of them going up and up and up. First through layers of regular stone construction, but then going through this thick layer of what appears to be gleaming pure white marble. With streaks of glowing gold and blue and purple, creating a beautifully lit up space. The stairs similarly perfectly polished, perfectly square. The edges beveled a little bit so that if you stumble a little bit, you're not going to open your knee up.
Actually, Riley, quick question.
Yes.
As we're on the path out of the map, this section over, and there's the connection fail again. The section to the north where we saw the bats lurking in originally, does that, by any chance, lead down to the Undercity areas?
No, I will go ahead and show this to you here. It is its own cave.
Ah, so that's the big question that I still have as a lingering one, which is. This is what we just fought our way through, is the underside of the evil Mage's Tower, who's doing transformations and apparently wanted to become a lich. So, okay, that's all good. The Ifany and our dear adorable little mimic buddy,
Himoto and Hutch, yes.
Thank you. Suggested rather strongly that. Sorry, no, Ifany was. Apologies, I think I got that mixed up a little bit.
Ifany was is a waitress at the action.
Yes, that's what I was trying to grasp at. See, sorry guys. Kimoto rather and Hutch spoke of a city under the city, so to speak, where the monsters or the non-humans and such live beneath the walls, yada yada yada.
So before you climb, let's rewind a little bit. Do you seek out those access tunnels?
Ernest is, at a minimum, exceedingly curious about it. This is information that's kind of important to her, yes.
Okay, how do you... Well, it's up to you. Convince the group.
Right. As we approach the stairs, Ernest pauses.
Warren, look for tunnels. Okay.
Casts a glance around, and rolls charisma, which is not possible for her to fail. I'm just kidding. So, we saw all of that under the Mage's Tower. Did anybody spot a spot where there was a city of monsters lurking off on the side?
Warren's like, well, we just fought all those bats. Those are monsters, right?
It's monsters is perhaps the wrong word. Other forms of people like you and I, just looking more like the ones that we helped out up top.
It's like, error. No.
So let's have a quick look around, see if we
I'm
can't...
going home.
Another time then.
Well, I could help you look around if you know.
Ernst waves a hand. No, it's a good point. We're all tired and we're not in no shape to encounter another bunch of them. Besides, we can always come back with the people who actually know where it is.
Okay.
So very well.
So as I was saying, trudging up the stairs.
Trudging back up the stairs.
Trudging back up the stairs, your body's weary, your mind's tired, your spell slot's mostly exhausted. All of your abilities stretched to the limit
And
to get through.
And Ernst carefully considering one final possible option, and so keeps their eyes forward and their ears sharp.
Yes, indeed. You press on through the regular layer of stone, through the strange polished marble foundation of Arkala, and then up, back out through into the basement of the house that led to this door in the first place. The door closes itself behind you, and the coin that you used to open that door drops. Who would like to pick up that coin?
First, we'll reclaim it.
Okay. And you are allowed back up into the city proper, where it is nighttime.
Now, before we leave the house and get on back into it, Ernst is going to have a real quiet conversation with everyone to the tune of, "All right, two important things. First, our new reborn divinity. How exactly do you want to do this?"
Ragnall looks down to you, looks to the rest of the group, making eye contact with anybody willing to make eye contact with it. And it says in this little squeaky bird voice, "We must convince the powers that be that a siege is upon us."
Well, we already have the guard captain half convinced.
A good start.
So, I'm gonna. Earth crosses her arms with a. It's not quite a smirk, but it's sort of that. It's sort of that dwarven expression where they half expect somebody to hit their hand on the anvil in the next swing.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it you're not about to manifest in power and glory and convince all of them to bow down.
Unfortunately, I do not have the strength to do that. But as I gain followers, and the faithful flock to my side, my power will grow.
Ernst waves a hand. Follower is perhaps a bit of a stretch, but I'll freelance as a herald. That'll work. That'll work just fine.
You wish to devote your soul to me, Ragnall?
Didn't say that. More of a lend-lease program.
Lend-lease program.
Rent to own.
Rent to own.
No.
Ragnall just kind of scoffs. Very well.
Don't get me wrong. We got an alliance going. Let's not spoil a good thing with proposals right off the bat. There's courting to do first, of course. But you've got my words on your side for the time being, and that's no small thing, if I do say so myself.
So, what are Clume and let's start with Clume. What's Clume doing during this conversation?
Clume she's listening, but she's already like looking down the path, that she would normally take home, kind of just waiting at this point because she doesn't like the new crow fella. She's just going along with it. She's just like, whatever.
I don't know about the new guy.
The new guy.
It's not that. It's more of just like, she's just like, oh yeah, it's like that.
Okay. How about Quinn?
Quinn is feeling very worn out. He thinks he's still a little lightheaded from the time he got knocked unconscious. He listens to the conversation but doesn't really participate. He's still very wary of Ragnall and just doesn't want to say anything in front of him, so he keeps his mouth shut. He just sticks close to Clume, kind of waiting for an opportunity for them to leave and go home, because he is so ready to pass out for the night.
Excellent. And that
How about
brings us-
Adre?
Sorry.
We're just sort of dispersing, or
Handling the extra bits during the conversation in case you wanted to add anything or do something separate before we
Yep.
leave.
not really.
Oh,
Okay.
Warren has something though.
All All right, so tentatively I ask Warren.
Alrighty, cracks knuckles. So Warren's like, oh wait, I have an idea. This should smooth things over. So he goes. He reaches on top of his head and he carefully grabs Ragnall.
Okay.
Then he holds him in front of his face. And he just kind of stares at Ragnall for a second. And he's like, yes. And then he tilts his head over like he's trying to listen for something. He listens for a second. He's like, okay, yep, all right. And then he brings Ragnall closer to his snoodle, and he takes a big sniff. He just smells the crap out of Ragnall. He just sniffs him.
What?
He sniffs him for a couple times. And he's like, okay, good. And then he carefully, he just kind of like, just ever so slightly licks Ragnall on his wing.
Oh no!
He takes a little taste. And he's like, yes.
I think this deity has buyer's remorse.
Ragnall has the you didn't think that some sort of creature that has no facial expression ability could look so uncomfortable.
The beak can't actually move, and yet
It's somehow frowning.
Essentially.
You know how birds can stretch their neck out, but then also can pull their neck in? Ragnall's head is all the way pulled in, looking as round as possible.
If Ragnall turned his head to Clume, he would just see Clume with the Anya smug face right now.
Wait.
Yeah, Barry, I think you can actually put that up, can't you?
I was gonna say,
could.
Zafane, did you share those already?
Yeah.
Actually, we
God.
really need to make that Clume one into an emote for Renard's channel.
Ew,
Oh my god. I need more emote slots is what I need.
Yeah.
Let me see if I
that'd be
can
amazing.
well, that's not what I wanted to do, but that'll work. Hold up.
I mean,
Yeah.
just a reminder:
anyway.
sub to both of
So
Yeah.
them.
Fucking
Oh
smug
my
Clume.
God. It
You
being
schmuck
behind all of the rest of the screen
Yeah,
is
I
looking
didn't-
pretty odd.
I didn't mean to do it that way.
I'm
That's
deeply
fine.
amused by that. Just shrink it down.
Yeah.
Hold on. I have to find it. It
Smug
disappeared.
Clume.
But yeah, essentially, Warren is using divine sense. And he's like, yes, let's see, tastes celestial, don't hear anything, but definitely does not smell evil. Yes. So essentially he was just doing all that to determine whether Ragnall was evil or not. He's like, I can definitely say 100,000% that Ragnall is indeed not evil.
Turning slowly to the GM. Hey GM,
Yeah.
what exactly does he actually sense?
That's called metagaming. And Renard messaged me and says, "Okay, I want to use this spell," and I said, "Sure, this is what you sense," and I told him exactly what he sensed.
Well, Clume,
That's
inside
fair,
check
that's
Warren. See if he's telling the truth.
You're gonna do what?
Inside check Warren.
I don't think
Yeah, go for
Warren can tell a lie. I don't think he's smart enough.
There's Clume.
Oh, well.
Oh,
There it is.
you absolutely
Barry, I need you to
Absolutely.
make a charisma saving throw.
Is it a charm effect?
We're gonna find out.
I would have to know because if it is, I get advantage on it.
It is not a charm effect.
Okay.
This is more to kind of determine what happens. Okay, you are in that moment watching Renard go through these motions of sniffing and licking and listening to this very uncomfortable looking little undead. You are convinced that Ragnall and Warren are in.
You cut off. I
Sorry.
cannot hear you.
Warren is
Yeah.
lying.
Wait, you cut off. I literally cannot. We cannot hear
Dang
you.
it. Okay. Sorry. So, through Warren doing all of his shenanigans and licking and sniffing and listening to this very uncomfortable looking undead bird, you are convinced that Ragnall and Warren are in cahoots and that Warren is lying flatly.
Don't worry, it'll wear off.
That is
Plume,
just in that moment, you just cannot shake the feeling that Warren has just told a lie.
Plume kind of like stares at him and looks forward back at the road.
And that brings it to the second thing Ernst was going to say. Right. So, now it's about time to be going our separate ways. And as it so happens, I've got 2 spell slots worth of invisibility left. Let's not make our way through the town in the dead of night as a solid group, shall we?
I'll be for the best.
So, I think it may be best if I use one of them on myself, so I can make it my way all the way back to the estate without it being known that I've been here. My impression is that Clume is the stealthiest of all of us, and our newest companion, deities excluded, quick nod towards Clume's back, is stealthier still. So I believe it would be safe, as long as Clume is willing to take the risk, for Clume to hide herself as she leaves. The rest of ya, Quinn, Adre, Warren, who ya needs the invisibility the most to be able to get somewhere where you can become visible again?
Well, Warren's like, what? I need to go pick up Rocky from daycare.
Quinn kind of just quirks a brow at Orist. He says, "Why would we need to be invisible?"
Us being seen in the middle of the night, traipsing about an abandoned house, is, at best, a bad look. All of us being seen together leaving it is a worse one.
Don't we literally have permission to be here?
Ernst looks to the goblin for a moment, quirking an eyebrow, and then slowly shakes her head. We were just beneath a tower owned by a powerful and now twice dead noble mage.
Plume kind of just looks at Uris with the biggest, just like,
They're all
who
in
the
on
fuck
it.
cares? Look.
They're all in coots.
Plume hoists her, what Ragnall would assume to be a backshroom, up on her back, and then just looks at Quinn, let's go, and starts walking home.
Yeah, Quinn will just follow her.
Warren is carefully trying to put Ragnar back on his head.
Ragnall settles back on your head comfortably enough.
Ernst will nod and turn to Adre. Do you feel like you can make it back to where you need to go without being too conspicuous?
Yeah, if anybody gives me any trouble, I'll just whack him with my stick and say some crazy old man shit.
Good, very good. Wait a little bit, then you can go. You're going to do exactly as I say.
I can do that. I'm very good at following instructions, I'll have you know.
A brief.
Ragnall is just shaking his head like, no, he's not.
No, it's not.
A brief, sympathetic look shared with Ragnall.
Yep.
I'm gonna shift Ragnall's a light.
So, in short, after the first pair get far enough away, and Adre a little bit later takes his opportunity to walk off through a different path and begin his own trek home. Ernst explains what's going to happen, and then makes him invisible, and basically just orders Warren to head to, for example, the edge of this little park area, find a lovely little tree to sit down at before becoming visible again, and wait for Ernst. Ernst will then do the same, make themselves invisible, make their way over there, and make their way all the way back to their estate, find a convenient spot to dip into, become visible again, then walk over, collect Warren, and then head back to quote-unquote rock daycare.
Okay.
This is literally the most complicated way of saying I go home.
Yeah. Hey, look,
That's fine, that's fine.
these kinds of things are kind of important. Like, Urist is making sure that if the DM, had some sort of people watching or, taking note of who's coming in or out of this kind of area, they're making it more difficult for other, NPCs to do certain things, which is good. Their paranoia is not without merit.
It's not foolproof, but Urst has been dealing with nobles for a while, and there is a big reason that the first 2 second-level spells that Urst got on her list are invisibility and another one that I'll reveal when the time is right.
Fair enough. So, through different means, you all make your way back home. Quinn and Clume, you make it back to your own home in kind of the middle of the town, getting back up to your apartments where your bodies heavy, flop down into your beds as soon as you can get, some of your dirty equipment off and chucked aside. The Moth Girl seems quite content to just cuddle up to Clume and pass out as well. Just snuggling right up against Clume's chest, where it still kind of keeps the resemblance of Clume's mushroom hat. Adre, shambling around town, is indeed bothered by a guard who says, "Oi, what are you doing up so late?" And Adre, in his instance, says some old man shit, whacks him with his staff, and continues on his way. Yes. The guard kind of going, ow, as he rubs his upper arm, just says, fucking old men, and goes about his business.
Gonna push that one over when he turns into a skeleton, I swear.
Urist and Warren end up getting back to the estate, where they check in to see that Hutch and Kimoto are indeed still there, however, are asleep. They retrieve Rocky from Rock Daycare, where it was right where Urist's dad left it, right on the desk, untouched. And Warren and Urist make their way to their own rooms, shuck off their equipment, get into your pajamas, and as soon as you hit the bed, you are asleep. Ragnall takes a position sitting by the window, looking out it casually, saying nothing.
Warren makes sure to introduce Rocky to Ragnall.
God.
Ragnall gives Rocky one glance and then returns to looking out the window without saying a single thing.
It's like, oh.
The first night, this night, is, especially for Clume, dreamless. You're so tired and so exhausted that you pass out and have restful, dreamless sleep. And that's where we're ending tonight's session.